Is he going to have a go at Reading? Is he going to have a run on the run to the line? Will he have a go there? Bautista's on target. Here he is for the victory and for Ducati's 1,000th World Superbike podium, and he's beaten them at Most. Bautista. Away we go, race one at Most. Brilliant start by Toprak. Jonathan Ray's not been happy with his starts this year. Locatelli's shooting up the outside following a close call on the warm-up lap. Toprak leads, that's exactly what Ray didn't want. His rear wheel's off the ground, drops of rain on the camera. Someone's off, four of them have gone across the runoff area. Almost contact at turn two, and that was Locatelli again. All sorts of riders rejoining from the runoff area. Terrible mess of a start, but it's Toprak leading. Ray second, Bautista third.
Andre Locatelli absolutely blocked past Rinaldi into turn two. He's gone straight on. It's going to be dangerous to get back on track now without hitting anybody. But avoiding him one. Andrea Locatelli is upsetting everybody before this race on the first lap.
What's going on? Is he got a stuck throttle or a brake problem? He doesn't seem to get the bike stopped anywhere. It's just chaos here. Bautista's being dropped. Toprak is leading. Ray, as you can see, is in second place. Bautista's third. Who's fourth? Look at the gap it's opened up. Reading on a different tyre to pretty much everybody else is fourth. Bassani's at him. Then it's Locatelli. Rinaldi's made a bad start.
Alex Lowe's
on Garrett Gerloff.
Lovely underneath Garrett Gerloff into that right-hander there. But look at Jonathan Ray right on the back wheel of the R1, and Bautista doesn't look comfortable on these early laps. We know in the previous races at Misano, etc., that the rear tyre of the Ducati takes a few laps to get up to speed. And in this situation, that we haven't got the X tyre, have we, in these long races? Is this SC0 going to be too hard for Bautista?
Well, Rinaldi's the big loser, James. Rinaldi was third on the grid. He's all the way down to seventh place. Look at this. Back from Toprak to Jonathan Ray. We're coming up to the heavy braking zone as we ride with Ray, and we're just about leading this motorcycle race. Hit the brakes. You're not going to pass Toprak down there, whether you're Jonathan Ray or anyone for that matter. And Toprak then, depressingly for Ray. Oh! Was that contact?
Contact into turn two as they went in. Toprak just stopped it mid-corner, and Jonathan Ray misjudged that and hit the back wheel. Luckily, going at a certain speed there, so slow, it wasn't a problem. But Jonathan Ray looking really, really comfortable behind him. But as you said, Greg, is there a way past into turn one on the brakes? I don't think there is, but at the minute, Bautista's just starting to claw the gap back again.
They made contact like that at the interior parabolica at Estoril, didn't they, earlier this season when Ray ran into the back of Toprak coming out of a corner, caught out by the Turk just ahead of him. Wow, what a start to this race. Toprak, Ray, Bautista. Bassani is fourth, Reading fifth. Locatelli somehow still running and not taking anyone out of the race yet is in sixth place. Rinaldi still seventh, Lowe's eighth. Here they come.
One of the biggest challenges for all of these riders is to go from 181 miles an hour down that start and finish straight and hit the brakes in exactly the right place to stop for that first corner. We saw how many people were going straight on into that turn one. Are we going to see no mistakes in this? Look at this, Jonathan Ray, looking up the inside. But that Kawasaki is definitely hooking up. We remember at Donington Park, Jonathan changing the pivot on the grid and the wheelbase of that Kawasaki. Massive changes to try and get the acceleration off the corners, but whatever setting he's got, it's really working here to come across the start-finish again. Is he going to go underneath Toprak into turn one? He's looking, but no chance at all. Look at that.
This is where they touched last time round. Jonathan will be wise to that. He carries more corner speed, and look, they're almost overlapping as they come out of the left-hander at turn two on this incredible layout here at Most. Look at Jonathan Ray. Corners like the Stoner corner at Phillip Island, and he's particularly good there. He's particularly good on this one as well. Look at him down through the snake. He's all over the back of the world champion.
Yeah, the changing direction though. It looks like the R1 top right. This is a replay coming through the chicane. That's it, where the contact was. Turn one and two. The front wheel just hit the rear wheel of Toprak's R1. I think this is from on board with Jonathan here. Look, just tapped it just there. How close do you want it? Lucky that it didn't flick him over the other side.
Reading has passed Bassani and he's up into fourth place. You can see him in the background there. They're still ahead of Locatelli and Rinaldi fighting a rearguard action from Alex Lowe's Kawasaki, but Alex is not fitting at all well this weekend.
Wait, look how wide there from Jonathan. His Toprak just starting to settle down and get a pace that is now not as comfortable for Jonathan to stay with. And look at that, it's even pulling a gap on Bautista. What an opportunity it is for Toprak and the Yamaha team to pull even more points. I'm not sure if he'll pull 31 points back that he did at Donington, but on this pace it's going to be difficult for the Ducati to stay with them.
If Ray's second and Bautista's third, it would be 13 points. If Ray goes through and wins with Bautista third, it would be 8 points, but we'll keep talking about that later on in the race, and that's a Pretty handy advantage for Toprak down the start, finish straight, but look at this, Bassani now. It was his birthday this week, he's just gone 23, takes Scott Redding, and he's back up into 4th position. Locatelli right behind them.
Beautiful from the young Italian. He's riding really well, isn't he, on this satellite Ducati? It's not an easy bike to ride in the factory team, never mind a satellite team. You look at Rinaldi, he's actually a few places in front of him, isn't he? Big talk about whether he's going to get a contract for next year. And with Andrea Locatelli spoiling his race at turn 2, it's going to be a tough job to convince Ducati he deserves it.
Okay, they come out of the right-hander at turn 10. This is a fantastic section here. It's plunging downhill through 11. This is 12, the left-hander. Scary part of the track as well. As Jonathan Ray said earlier on in the show, there's not much runoff. Had a big moment through here in Superpole earlier on today, but managed to regroup and set a blistering pace for the fastest ever qualifying lap of Most. And now we have, I believe, a new fastest race lap of Most as well from Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, 1:31.936. The previous best from the sprint race last year was a 31.996 from Jonathan Ray. So by 0.5 of a second, we have a new lap record.
Yeah, and that's a really good going as well. Remember, they're not on the X. They're on the zero. Shows you how good the track is with this new surface. With a harder compound, they're already going faster than they did last year with a softer compound. But look at Scott Redding bringing that confidence from Park. That new Calex swinging arm, it seems to be really hooking up better off the corner. And is the power of the BMW going to be able to go side by side with the Ducati? No, Bassani's Ducati is pretty quick. And as Toprak does what he does best, goes into turn 1 on the front wheel, Jonathan Ray really catches up onto the back of him.
Jonathan Ray was 0.2 of a second faster than Toprak on that lap. Bautista was faster than Toprak on that lap as well. That's what a gap of 2 seconds looks like back to Bassani. Now, Locatelli's already been through the gravel at this next corner in this race. He nearly wiped out a load of riders, including his teammate, on the warm-up lap as well, when he went from the inside across the runoff at turn 1. This is 4, 5 and 6. Well, Michael Rinaldi's really struggling here down in 7th place. Terrible start. He was 3rd on the grid on the front row. He out-qualified Alvaro Bautista for the first time since they became teammates earlier on this year. And look how close Jonathan Ray is now to the back of Toprak again.
Oh, this is getting good. This is getting really good. I thought Toprak was just starting to eke out a bit of a gap on the Kawasaki of the 6-time world champion. But it's all settling down as the fuel goes down on these bikes. The weight ballast and the weight transfer on them will be changing from every single lap. And with less grip with this new harder rear tyre, the riders are going to have to do everything they can with their body positioning to eke out every bit of traction off these corners. And look at this, Kawasaki now on the other side. I don't think he's going to go around the outside of Toprak into turn 1. Going around the inside is bad enough, but no, Jonathan, he thinks the best of that, and I think that was a good decision. Look at this though, Bautista right on the back of the 2 again. We know how fast this Ducati is when that fuel goes down on his Duke.
Yeah, Jonathan Ray forcing Toprak to go defensive to compromise his exit speed, I guess, on the exit from that chicane to try and attack here down the hill. He was doing a similar thing into the Carl Fogarty S's, wasn't he, at Donington 2 weeks ago, forcing him to take a different line to compromise his exit and attack into the next corner. He's all over him, and like you say, Bautista, look, bottom of the screen, lapping quicker than the 2 ahead of him now, reeling them in.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Toprak's just keeping his powder dry and maybe just looking after things, because it looks like now Jonathan is right on the back and he's holding up mid-corner, which says to me Toprak's just holding a little bit back, trying to keep the temperature down in that rear tyre. But Jonathan Ray now makes the move. Beautiful.
Jonathan Ray through as he made it stick on lap 6. He has. Toprak will try and come back at him. Bautista will be loving this as well. Jonathan Ray controlling the race as much as he can. He's back in front. He's never won here at Most. Toprak's never won 4 races in a row, and he'd love to do that. He's also chasing the 100th Yamaha win, and he's now going to do to Ray what he did to Redding at this corner last year. He goes back through. It's the end of the 6th lap. It's absolutely sensational. Ray back underneath him at 21.
This is brilliant. Fantastic from Jonathan Ray.
Now, let's see what Alvaro Bautista can do about Toprak with the horsepower advantage, and you know how strong Toprak is on the brakes as well. 3 abreast! 3 abreast in the World Superbike Championship. Are they going to touch on the direction change? No, they're not. Ray's come back up alongside him. I think he's ahead. I think he's ahead. No, he's not ahead. Toprak's ahead.
Unbelievable racing. They've really given us a show, haven't they, the last couple of years, these three guys, and it's carrying on here in the Czech Republic. Jonathan Rea looking really strong on the Kawasaki, but we know as the laps tick on, Bautista gets quicker, and he's right on the back of him now, and this is the championship look, only 13 points and separate them, and the gap now for Razgatlıoğlu is 34 points.
And I think I saw a drop of rain there on the camera lens on the outside at turn 10, so I don't know whether there's a little bit more rain in the vicinity. Toprak was a bit wide there, down the bottom of the hill, and Ray's going to punish him for that into the next one. Yes, it was the slightest of mistakes for Toprak, and Ray, you cannot allow Jonathan Rea the slightest of mistakes, because this is what happens.
This is brilliant. Really, really good stuff from an average speed of over 100 miles an hour here at Most. And Toprak, you can see, is just really sussing Jonathan out. They're both kind of keeping the powder dry on the tyres here, but the racing's hard, but really, really fair. And I tell you, the biggest man with the biggest smile, I think, at the minute, will be Bautista in third, because he remembers what happened in Assen. He'll be there again to pick up any of the pieces where this falls out.
Big fly squashed on the camera of the Panigale V4R. Now we're closing in, but we know how strong Toprak is. Under brakes, it's almost a carbon copy of last time. They're almost touching. He'll go through again. Can Bautista take advantage? Oh, I thought he was going to take the front end there. Jonathan Rea's racecraft and his spatial awareness is second to none. We saw this in Indonesia last year. And there is more spots of rain. I'm absolutely sure of it. There are more spots of look on this camera as well. Are we going to have another variable thrown into the mix in the form of the weather?
Oh, who knows, but this is amazing. And looking at the lap times, they're actually going slower than Bassani now in fourth. If they start to really upset each other with the pace, that could give a chance of this second group here now. Bassani, Redding and Locatelli. Remember, Locatelli was on the podium last year as well. I know Redding was on the Duke, so they've got a lot of confidence from here. But look at that, the gap is starting to come down. Jonathan, if he can stay at the front, I think they'll be able to go drop back in the 32s, but 33s is not going to cut it before they catch up.
Jonathan Rea, number 65. 5 times a winner so far this year. Toprak, 4 times a winner. Bautista, 6 victories. He's won more races than anybody from the 15 we've had so far in 2022. We're at the halfway point of the season at the end of this one. Drops of rain on the camera there behind the pits as well, so it's coming in from that direction, is it? Sort of from the right-hand side if you're on the start-finish straight, down the bottom of the circuit, and it's definitely spitting with rain down there. Mental rain, of course, on the riders' visors. And look, that's a really handy advantage for Jonathan Rea. Is Toprak going to be close enough? He lost a 10th to Rea in that lap. Bautista's closing in, but Toprak is no longer close enough to attack on the brakes.
I don't think it's an option for Bautista or for Jonathan Rea to look at going underneath Toprak into that turn 1. You know, you lose a lot of time if you go straight on at turn 1 and you have to go through that chicane, which just slows people down, so they'll not be risking that. But where do you pass? Jonathan Rea has found a gap, hasn't he, between that turn 12 and 13 on the switchback, and that might be an opportunity really for Bautista to get on the same.
Scott Redding has repassed Bassani. Here he is, gliding his way down into turn 10. So this is Redding 4th, Bassani 5th, Locatelli 6th, Rinaldi 7th, Lowe's 8th, and Lowe's has just gone quicker than he's gone in the race so far, but personal best lap of the race, interestingly, for Redding on the BMW in 4th place, who's lapping half a second quicker than these guys at the front.
And I think that might be something to do with the raindrops. Look, each lap you can see the guys are just trying to figure this out. The top 3 cannot afford any mistakes. Bautista's got a bit of a cushion here in this championship, but Jonathan Rea and Toprak cannot afford to go down. If they go down at this point in the season and lose another 20 points on Bautista, the pressure's going to be massively increased. So you can see how cautious they're being, which might just play into the hands of the people that've got nothing to lose in that second group.
And he's going to be close enough to pass this time, but there goes the Ducati. Look at him on the right-hand side. He's in there somewhere. Toprak goes through on Rea. Bautista thinks better of it. Toprak retakes the lead on the 10th of the 22 laps. And now, are we going to see number 19 attacking for the first time this afternoon?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Bautista's watching on. He's getting a good bird's eye view of these two, where they are strong and where they are not. And with 12 and a half laps to go soon, he'll be able to figure it out whether he is strong enough to get past in a safe way. I don't think turn one is safe for anybody to look at Toprak, so they're going to have to figure out where they do that in another place. That seems really slow. Is there some more rain coming down? But no, I think just Toprak just stopped it mid-corner.
And what's happened there? Is that a bit of damage on the back? Is that from the contact earlier on, I wonder?
A piece of rubber that's come off the tyre, just stuck to the camera.
So it's stuck to the camera, okay.
Yeah. Drops of rain in Sector 3 officially reported. It's the first time it's come out. There's the flags in the background, like the white flag. Oh, he's lost one. He might even lose two there.
Scott's coming. Scott is coming. Just looking at the lap times again, he was a 4.4 of a second faster again on that last lap. Look at him just now closing the gap. If these guys ruffle each other's feathers even more on this one, he won't be far off.
Lowe's has just taken Rinaldi as well. Lowe's is up into 7th position on the second green. Bautista on Toprak. Oh, wow.
Oh, no, there it is. There's the rain flag. And with the white, with the red cross, that means there's rain at that particular point.
Yeah, well, which happens to be Sector 3 at the moment. But I'm sure it'll be probably Sector 4 as well, because this is Sector 4 and there's drops of the rain on this camera as well. I can't imagine how difficult this must be for the riders. Now, how's this going to work? Because you know Bautista will blast ahead, but Toprak stronger on the brakes. Is Jonathan Reagan will end up being in 3rd position. Bautista leads the motorcycle race on the 11th of the 22 laps. We're only halfway through at the end of this lap. Bautista's in the lead at Most. We didn't expect this.
The speed of the Ducati when that fuel goes down and the feeling that Bautista gets from it, he just increases his performance massively halfway. That's where the rain is. This you can see, with the white and red cross, this is where the rain is on the track. You might see just a plain white flag, which means there is rain on some of the track, but where the red cross is that's where the rain is. And you can see on that hairpin, I thought Toprak was a bit slow on the onboard the other time round, and that is really letting the guys, Scott Redding and Bassani, start to catch them.
33.2 for Redding last time round. 8/10 quicker, nearly a full second quicker than Bautista. Of course, they're fighting at the front, but Bassani's going with him. Locatelli's not too far behind either. Rinaldi has repassed Alex Lowe's for 7th. Now look at this. This is Bautista on the left, taking Toprak into Toprak's favourite corner.
Yeah, and that's what the Yamaha did to the Ducati last year with Scott Redding.
Yeah, true.
And the Ducati's just done it to the Yamaha this year with the Ducati horsepower. Look at that. He didn't even need a slipstream. Tom Jonathan Ray round the outside into the lead into turn one.
And Redding is now just 8/10 of a second behind Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Ducati, Kawasaki, Yamaha, BMW. Do you know those balancing rules are working? I know it's not an ideal weekend for Honda, but 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. Bassani's going with them on the independent Ducati, and we're now, only just now, starting the second half of this race. And Toprak, no, he's too far behind. Of course, it's going to get even riskier now with drops of rain, and look how Redding and Bassani just reeling them in under brakes.
Yeah, one thing that Jonathan's going to have to be careful of, with the horsepower of the Ducati down the start and finish straight, and the gap that he pulls down that straight, Jonathan is going to have to be careful to make sure he hits his own braking marker and not try and catch too much up on Toprak, on Bautista into that. But look at this, Scott Redding, the podium that he had at Donington Park, a wonderful performance, but we know the BMW and Scott is so good there. But the Kalex swinging arm has come here to Most, and the BMW team, Xiaomi, is so relieved that the performance is carrying on.
Remember, Redding's on a different tyre as well. Redding's on the standard SC0. The other guys around him on the development SC0 as these flags continue to fly. Quite a variation of front tyres as well. But look, well, SBK regulations, and other riders went to the pit lane and changed tyres at any moment during the race, and that's the key thing there. The pit intervention time is 58 seconds, but James, in reality, we're nowhere near a situation where they're going to need to change tyres just at the minute, are we?
No, not at all. Not with doing 33s when the lap record is 31s, only a second and a half off, if that. So with the drops on your visors, but Bassani, he's also been dragged up here to this leading group with Redding, but Redding is right on the back of them. It's going to be interesting now out of this last corner to see who's going to get the drive on Bautista, but watch the Ducati pull away. This is where the other guys are going to have to be really careful when they hit the brakes just there to not trying to catch that gap back up. Look, it must be 6 bike lengths.
Oh, Redding was so late on the brakes there. Yeah, as you said before, they've got to be careful they don't try and brake exactly where Toprak brakes. But as you were saying earlier on, James, in qualifying, when it starts getting a little bit damp out there, I know the lap time, but it makes it more difficult for Toprak, doesn't it, with his braking technique?
Massively, but you know, he's got that in the locker. He knows if he gets off the corner, but the one thing that the Kawasaki's doing at the minute is getting off that last corner really well, which makes it really difficult for Toprak in 3rd.
For the first time this afternoon, drops of rain in all sectors, officially reported on the timing screen in our commentary box, and that's also fed to all of the teams in the garages and on the pit wall here at Most in the Czech Republic. What a race we are watching. 4 different manufacturers as close as this at the front in the second half of the race. Axel Bassani on the customer Ducati behind them. Best of the rest is Locatelli. Lowe's has repassed Rinaldi. Lecuona is 9th. Garrett Gerloff is 10th. And struggling for a setup this weekend. They went the wrong way yesterday, did the American, down in 10th place. Baz is 11th, Maes is 12th, Bernardi's 13th, Ertel 14th with a new contract for next year, Vieje 15th, and Eugene Laverty, who announced his retirement from riding earlier today, a co-owner of the team, next 20th at the moment.
I was worried that Scott Redding going to the BMW, we might not see him at the front as Toprak goes underneath Jonathan Rea into turn 1. Yeah, lovely. The Yamaha just getting off the last corner well enough to get the slipstream down. But look, how good is it to see Scott Redding at the front group in Donington and now consistently here. Look at this. Oh, Jonathan Rea trying to look underneath Toprak in the fast turn 4. That would have been brave.
Oh, wow, and Scott Redding's right behind us as well, but they can't believe this, can they? That pesky Bautista's managed to get up to the back of us, pass us one by one, and he's leading this race. They cannot afford to keep losing points to the Spaniard on the red Ducati. Remember, he's never even raced a Ducati here at Most before. He was on the Honda last year. He was gradually building, wasn't he, James? All through practice, and what an improvement it is for Ducati this season.
Yeah, I'm so pleased for Scott, and I'm so pleased for BMW. Fair play for him.
Oh, look at this.
Jonathan Rea back underneath on that corner again. He loves that move, doesn't he? That's the second or third time that he's put that move on Toprak, and Toprak's going to have to be really careful with that towards the end of the race. But yeah, also Calix as well. Congratulations to Calix on building that rear end of the bike in such short time.
Look at that, Scott Redding goes through and takes Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. So Redding on the BMW, he's up into 3rd place here in the mixed conditions of race 1 in the Czech Republic, and his next target is his old friend, his old rival, 6-time world champion Jonathan Rea's Kawasaki. Bautista leads into lap 15 of 22. They've just got past 2/3 distance. Redding now then, with Toprak, the long-time leader of this race, down into 4th place.
Yeah, Redding up into 3rd. Great move there, coming out the last corner with the horsepower of the BMW. Really, really good. Oh, slightly wide there, just in turn 5, which is just regrouped again, and he's looking strong, isn't he? Just looking at the, we know he's got a long bike, Redding, so a little bit difficult to get on the traction out of these corners, and a lot of wheel spin. That can sometimes just overcook and overheat the tyre, especially on these long, fast corners where you're flat out. But it looks like pretty stable this morning.
OK, what's going to happen then in the closing stages? I wonder how much of a difference that different rear tyres making, James, for Scott Redding. As we said earlier on, as they come past us, Redding's on the standard SC0. The other guys around him on that new development SC0. The X, of course, not allowed this weekend.
Yeah, I believe the old one's got a little bit more edge grip because the construction's a bit softer, so it'll flatten out more on the track. You get a bit more contact patch with the tyre to the tarmac. But they said there's a bit more durability on the new one because of the construction. So with 7 laps to go, as they come out of this last corner, is that going to come into play with the last 5 laps? And is Scott Redding's one just going to start to just struggle? We'll see.
This is the move, Redding on the left, Toprak on the right, and there's history between these two at this corner. He's repaid him then for what he did a year ago, and now he's attacking
Redding.
Jonathan Rea for second. Redding on the BMW is second. Unbelievable stuff, he's through.
Bautista 32.1, 2/10 quicker, so the track is definitely drying out. We've seen the rain flags go in, so are the conditions getting better and better? The guys are going to have to be really careful here that they don't fight too hard, because if Bautista wins another race and gains another 5-9 points on the guys, what's that? It's going to be back into the 20s again.
Yeah, 26 if it stays like this. Is Redding going to win this race on the BMW? Can you imagine? Scott Redding, number 45. He's been saying all season long, listen to me, listen to me. The fact of the matter is, I was winning races last year and the year before. I was on the podium regularly. BMW were not doing either of those two things. They have started to listen to him. They've put their faith in him. We know that Michael van der Mark's been re-signed for next year as well to remain as Redding's teammate. Now his quarry is that man there, number 19, the man who took his place
at Ducati this season, and he's closing in. Yeah. There's the gap at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it looks like it. Obviously just lost a couple of tenths there in that particular split, but look at that. He was quicker in the... And it looks like to me on the screen that Scott Redding is starting to claw the gap back.
Yeah, he
on
did.
Bautista.
He got another 10th in Sector 3. It came down from 0.6 to 0.5.
Imagine a win.
Uh-oh, and they're coming up to turn 20. Redding passed Toprak here early in the race. Toprak infamously passed Redding for the win here in this race last year. Jonathan Rea dropped there now and again stuck in 4th place as he was at Misano earlier this year. This is the start of the 22nd and final lap of this race. I don't think Toprak, no, of course, he's nowhere near close enough to take Scott Redding.
Now the BMW really strong down the start and finish there straight. Oh, to tell you what, Scott Redding was deep into that corner. He had to square it off a little bit, but that's not really compromised his drive out of there. Toprak slowly creased back in, but Jonathan Rea has got nothing on this last couple of laps. The Kawasaki again just losing that rear traction to stay with them on the latter part of the race.
Oh, Redding's gone wide as well there. Sorry, James. Redding was wide down through the end of the snake section, and his Toprak close enough. It's really narrow though, isn't it, down here at 10?
Look at Toprak sliding into that hairpin at turn 10 now, accelerating down. You know what happened last year on the Ducati, and that Scott Redding wasn't happy with the way he overtook him. And could this be a mirror image? Here he goes, Toprak.
This is critical, and he's forced him off the track, and Jonathan Rea might try and take advantage of this. Of course he'll try and take advantage of this, and Scott Redding for the second year in a row is going to be... I thought he was going to clip back of him there, and Jonathan Rea might have been out of the race.
Back again. Oh, this is so close. They're going to have to be very careful. Oh, Scott Redding throws it over the nose of Jonathan.
This is 16 points versus 13 points, and Jonathan Rea cannot afford to lose them. Is he going to have a go at Redding? Is he going to have a run on the run to the line? Will he have a go there? Bautista's on target. Here he is for the victory and for Ducati's 1,000th World Superbike podium, and he's beaten them at Most. Bautista wins. Toprak second. Who will be third? Is it Redding? Yes. He's beaten Jonathan Rea by a 10th of a second, but as they made their lives difficult, and Redding gesticulates after race 1 at Toprak for the second year in a row, Ducati are laughing all the way to the checkered flag.